Dating in America is brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source.
The first-time diamond buyers should feel comfortable coming here because our selection at the Gold and Diamond Source is as large as you can imagine. So they don't have to worry about going to a store and feeling pressured about buying something. We educate them and they can make the right choice based on what's important to them.
It's the good, the bad,
Possibly a murderer? Oh.
and the funny of the single scene.
Yeah, you young people don't talk about that.
Listen,
I want just a text back.
laugh, and get your love life on track. This is Dating in America with Sarina Fazan.
And we're talking dating. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Dating in America. I'm Sarina Fazan. Today, a very unusual show because typically with Dating in America, I have a couple of guests, maybe two or three. But oh no, today it's just me and a guest we are welcoming back who was on the record. Coming to us from Los Angeles, Dan Harary. Rhymes like Ferrari. Dan, how could I forget that?
Right. That's right. You know, that's how I remember it too.
Well, welcome back, and thank you for being on the record talking about your book, Flirting with Fame. So interesting. Sure. And today, after we did that, I said, Dan, you need to come back for Dating in America and your second book, Carrots. But before we get into that book and why you wrote that book, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I'm Dan Harary. I live in Beverly Hills, California. I'm a Hollywood publicist. I've been a Hollywood publicist for about 40 years. And I've worked with a lot of very famous celebrities, movie stars, TV, rock music, pop music. So my first book, which came out in June, which you and I talked about recently, was called Flirting with Fame. I'm divorced. I have two adult children. I have a 34-year-old son, a 32-year-old daughter. My daughter's the love of my life. And I was with my ex-wife from the ages of 25 to 36. So I was fairly young when we met. I was only 25. She was only 20. And we were together 11 years. We had two children. We weren't meant to be together for eternity. We both agree, we were meant to make our children and then part ways. So I've been a single man since 1992, which is 30 years this year.
Yeah, I was going to say, the math on that, I was trying to do it really quickly in my head.
30
Wow,
years,
that's a long time.
30 years.
That's a long
It's
time.
a long time. I've had many girlfriends, good, bad, and ugly. I came close a few times. There were a couple of women I almost asked them to marry me, but for various reasons that we could get into, I did not. So, and in fact, last night I had a first date with a new lady I just met who's very nice.
You did?
Yeah, so I'm still dating, man. I'm 66. I've been single for 30 years. I've seen it all. And here I am now flirting with you.
Oh my gosh. Well, I wanted to tell you, I have to say, you actually flummoxed me, I would believe would be the word on the air when we went on the record. Thank you for that. And today I am wearing another red dress because remember I wore the glittery red dress because Hollywood,
well,
but today I'm wearing another red dress.
Well, you look hot. You're red's a good color for you, man. Red's a good color.
Okay.
It's like waving a red flag in front of a bull when you wear red. So,
Dan, okay,
you know.
Okay, so Carl in the control room and Danielle in the control room, I'm sure, and Tyler too, I'm sure are just dying right now because I'm blushing. Dan, but thank you for the compliment. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
You're making my Friday.
You're a beautiful woman. You're very fun, intelligent. You're fun to talk to. And I said, if you come out to Beverly Hills, I'll show you around. That's a standing offer. So just so you know.
Okay, thank you. I'm so appreciative of that offer too. Sure. I have many questions for you, but let's talk about your book, Carrots, because in the book, don't you talk about the most beautiful women that you have met? Women
I've loved and lost, or never loved at all.
Oh, okay.
Or wanted to love, but was unable to. That's really the addendum part of it. Loved, lost, never loved at all, or wanted to love, but it didn't happen. Let's call it that way.
All right. So where do you want to begin, Dan? Do you want to begin with the women that you have loved and lost, or do you want to begin with the women you wanted to love and never had a chance?
I'd like to start at the beginning of the premise for this book, Carrots. Mm-hmm. How it happened.
Do share.
Okay, let me think how I could start this.
Okay.
Two things happened that led to the birth of this. And this book, I will just say, it took me 42 years to write this book. I started this book in
42 years?
I started this book in 1980, and I'll tell you why. In 1980, I was 23. I was commuting from New Jersey into New York City for a job I had. And there was a beautiful woman on the bus every day that I commuted on the same bus. And this beautiful woman was there. And I never had the courage to talk to her because, Sarina, in those days, believe it or not, I was painfully shy. As a teen and in my 20s, I was painfully shy. So this woman on the bus every day, and I wanted to talk to her, but I never had the courage to. On top of that, a few years earlier, when I was a freshman in college, when I was 18, I went to Rutgers University my freshman year of college. And there was a woman there, a girl, my age, very, very long red hair. And I saw her the very first night I ever was at college at a dance. And I was mesmerized by her, just completely smitten with her. Wow. And I was unable to talk to her. Sarina, I never spoke to her once an entire school year. I never talked to her once. I couldn't do it. I was too shy.
And so you have her, and then you have the girl on the bus.
So I had the long red girl. I called her Long Red. I didn't even know her name. When I was 18, I was in love with her from afar. And then a few years later, there's a woman on the bus, and I was lusting for her from afar. So anyway, I'm on a bus one day, and looking out the window, and I swear to you, a voice came to my right ear and said, "You need to write a book called Carrots."
Those years ago, 42 years ago.
I was 24. I'm 66. Wow. A voice said, "You need to write a book called Carrots." Now, Sarina, I didn't know what that meant until a carrot on a stick? A carrot on a stick, like a horse, a donkey.
Yes, like a carrot on the stick. And I was wondering why, carrots, right. Why you're, I
can find it. This is the cover of my book. See, Isn't that great?
It's fantastic.
Yeah,
fantastic.
That's me in my 20s, and this is every woman. This is every woman I've ever known, including you. This is every woman I've ever known, including you.
Wow.
So once I heard the voice, I sat in my mother's living room that summer, and I wrote a screenplay called Carrots. And it was a science fiction screenplay, romantic comedy. I didn't know what I was doing, but that was the premise. That was 1980. Over the years, had it in a drawer for 42 years. I kept playing with it and changing it and playing and changing and playing and changing. And then when I realized I should change it from a screenplay, which had been a screenplay for 40 years, into a book, that's when the magic happened. Because then I'm like, well, I can write a book about all the women I've pursued, women I've been with, women who've broken my heart, women I've dumped for various reasons. And once it became a book idea, I polished it up, pitched it to a publisher, got a publishing deal, the same publisher who's doing my book, Flirting with Fame, by the way. And so my Carrots book comes out in September after 42 years.
42 years. So let me ask you this. Thank you for sharing that story. Do you regret not talking to that girl on the college campus and not talking to that girl on the bus? And what would you say to people out there?
Sarina, I had undiagnosed depression, clinical medical depression from the age of 15 till the age of 40. Okay, so for 25 years I had depression, medical depression that ran all through my mother's family. No one ever told me for 25 years, no one ever told me I had depression. I didn't know.
But you were feeling very, very sad. You just didn't know that you actually had clinical depression.
I had clinical depression all those years. It ran all through my mother's family. Even though I got straight A's in every school, I was a straight A student my whole life. I was a drummer in rock bands. I was very popular. I had 1,000,000 friends. How it came out, Sarina, my depression came out in an intense shyness with girls and women. Intense shyness as far as asking women to go out on a date with me. Certainly in the sexual area, I was very shy, and I didn't know why, and until I became undepressed at the age of 40, when I got Prozac from a psychiatrist. Anyway,
oh my goodness,
though.
So all those years, Dan, all of those years, your shyness and inability, as you said, to ask these women out, you realized was because of the depression.
It took me forever, Sarina. In the moment, I didn't know. I was in love with this girl with red hair. I was in love with her. She used to look at me and almost as if to say, why don't you come over and talk to me?
Okay, so let's stop right there, though, because I want to ask you something. When you said you were in love with her, the question I'm asking is, because people have asked me this, how is it possible to be in love with somebody that you've never talked to, or have had any physical type intimacy with?
Absolutely, yes, and I'll give you a couple examples. In retrospect, I was a love addict for her. And then, Sarina, the next year, my sophomore year of college, another girl came my way. This one I actually had a relationship with. I mean, just a talking friendship with.
Mm-hmm.
And my friends kept saying, ask her out, ask her out. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. I was in love with her also. I could never, ever, to this day, never asked her out for a date. I couldn't do it. That's called love addiction. I was a love addict in those years. I would fall in love with a woman from afar. And just every time I'd see her, my heart would beat fast. And I'd get all nervous and jerky. And even the girl from sophomore year of college, she was a friend of mine. She kept waiting. She told me years later, she kept waiting for me to ask her out on a date. I couldn't do it. I had such low self-esteem because of my depression.
So
I was unable to.
So do you talk about the love addiction in your book, and how do you overcome it? And you feel you overcame it, right, with thanks to the help of Prozac?
Okay, all of those things are sort of true, but when I met so I would say I was a love addict for quite a few years. When I moved to California, I was only 24. I met my now ex-wife when I was 25 at a nightclub. Now, here's what I discovered, Sarina. In my mid-20s, I discovered if I drink a lot of vodka, suddenly I'm, Hugh Hefner. Suddenly I'm overcoming the depression. I didn't know that when I was a young man. So once I started drinking, then I could ask any girl out or any girl for her phone number. And that's how I met my wife when I was 25. I met my wife. When I met my wife, I would say I became undepressed for a few years because she was 20, she was beautiful, we were madly in love for years, and I felt that my sort of love addiction era had ended.
So
and it did. It actually did. It ended with her. That ended with her.
I want you to hold that thought. I want you to hold that thought, Dan, because we need to go to a commercial break and resume the conversation about the love addiction. And once again, thank you so much for sharing this with us. And to the audience, I'll say we'll be right back in a couple of minutes, so just stay with us.
September's birthstone is sapphire. Sapphires come in every color of the rainbow except red.
Pat Precious sapphires are extremely rare pink-orange stones, and their rarity makes them more precious and valuable than any other sapphire.
They're perfect for everyday wear since they are the hardest colored gemstone.
To learn more about sapphires or any other colored gemstone, follow us on our social media, online, or even come see us only at the Golden Diamond Source.
Thinking about getting engaged, planning to upgrade your wedding ring, or finally getting that Rolex?
The Golden Diamond Source can help you in many ways.
You can start a layaway plan for only 10% down and 6 monthly payments.
Take advantage of our 3 to 5 year interest-free financing.
Or you can trade in your old broken jewelry and use it towards a new purchase.
Come to the Golden Diamond Source and find that perfect gift for the ones that you love.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarina Fazan and welcome back to Dating in America. We're joined with Dan Harary, yes, rhymes with Ferrari, joining us from Beverly Hills, California, talking about his new book, Carrots. And before we went to the break, we were talking about your openness, Dan, and sharing about your love addiction, and even saying alcohol gave you the bravery to ask out your wife and other women.
Alcohol was the missing link. Okay, so here's what my clinical depression was. It was a lack of serotonin. My body did not produce enough serotonin in my brain. Okay, did I know that when I was 18 to 25? I had no idea. All I knew was that I had very low self-esteem. I was painfully shy with girls, painfully shy. Even though I was fairly decent looking, I'm fairly talented, I'm fairly successful. It was a self-fulfilling prophecy of me not succeeding with women because I had such bad self-esteem, Sarina. So anyway, once I discovered several drinks at a nightclub, and you dance and you drink and you dance, then I became Jerry Lewis. Suddenly I'm outgoing, I'm making jokes. So I don't know if that was a serotonin replacement, but being mildly drunk to actually drunk, at least gave me the opportunity to ask beautiful women for their phone numbers. So that was, you have no idea how huge that was for me after so many years of painful shyness.
Well, they say though that alcohol, of course, is though also a depressant. So you can be happy in that short period of time. And I've done research on this as well. Serotonin, you can actually build your serotonin through exercise. And there's been studies that say that you can get just as much serotonin by exercising, running, doing elliptical or whatever, even more than Prozac. So I just want to mention that because for the young girls and young men that are watching, we don't want to push them towards alcohol, do we, Dan?
No, of course not. Of course not. Now, I was not exercising in those
young
days.
Or old, by the way. It doesn't matter how old you are, but yeah. Okay. So
I had no means to create serotonin. Serotonin was lacking in my body, but alcohol, and I'm not an alcoholic, but in those days when I finally had the courage to ask my wife for her phone number, it took I think 3 or 4 drinks that night. So once I met my wife, and we were together 11 years, we made 2 children. The crippling shyness with women passed. It went away. Now, if you want to talk about after my divorce,
yes, because
Sarina, that's big. That's the big chunk.
Yes, I want to. So you said at the very beginning of the show, you were married to your wife for 11 years. You both knew that you were not meant to be together, but meant to create your amazing children. And children are amazing. So all these years though, Dan, all of these years, why have you still been single? You said you were close to getting married. Have you lived with anybody?
I did. All right, so I was with my ex-wife from 1982 till 1992. When I got divorced, she actually, all right, so she's a very lovely woman. We fell out of love. We stopped sleeping together. The last 2 years we were together, we had not had sex. Can we talk about sex?
Yeah, and so let me ask you that question. Do you feel, and usually I get really embarrassed about it, and I don't talk about that kind of stuff, but I'm going to talk about this kind of stuff. So you said for the last 2 years there was no physical intimacy. Do you feel from a man's perspective, once that physical intimacy leaves the relationship, the man also checks out? How important is it?
Well, in my case, it's very unfortunate because my ex-wife had developed numerous medical problems. She had Epstein-Barr syndrome, severe case for many years.
Bless her heart.
And then she had major back surgery. She was in a hospital for like 5 months. And I'm raising a 4-year-old boy and a 2-year-old girl by myself. She's in the hospital. Her grandmother, who was my kid's great-grandmother, was living with me, helping me. So it was nothing that she did purposely. She had very, very bad medical health for years. And that plus no sex. Once my kids were 2 and 4, she said to me, Dan, we're not in love anymore. We need to go our separate ways. She said to me, Dan, you need to sleep with more women. You've only been with a few women before you met me.
Wow.
And
So
Sarina,
she said that to you.
She said it. She did. I started to cry tears of joy. And I said, Kim, thank you for giving me my life back. Thank you. Because I would have suffered for this in silence. My parents got divorced and I saw how ugly that was.
Mm-hmm.
And I had never planned to get divorced. When Kim said, go our separate ways, the kids will be fine, you can see them whenever you want, you need to be with more women, I cried tears of joy. And I said, thank you, Kim.
Kim sounds absolutely amazing.
She gave me a freedom. So now I'm 36.
Still very young.
I had only been with a few women before my wife. And Sarina, here's what happened. From 36 to 56, I became a sex addict. I was a sex addict. Didn't really know it. I didn't know it until I found a therapist who told me I didn't know that. She goes, how could you possibly not know? What it was sex is a great means of what? Serotonin, right? Serotonin. The thing that was lacking in my life, I discovered through sex.
So you were a love addict and then now a sex addict, all going back
Correct.
to the serotonin
Correct.
that all of us need. Wow.
That's true. That's
So
absolutely true.
So for those 20 years, did you just not want to commit then to anybody? Because there was just too many women in your life?
Well, when I'm 36, I had a good job. I only had my kids on the weekend, so I had a date during the week, which, a lot of women don't want to date during the week. They want to date on the weekend. But in those days, out here in Los Angeles, in the LA Times, of all places, newspaper, there was a full page once a week called Dateline. And you could put free, this is before the internet, this is 1992. You could put a free ad in the LA Times newspaper. So I put single white man, 36, funny, goofy, romantic, seeking attractive woman for new adventures, something like that.
And Sarina, I love it. It was called Dateline. I love it.
Dateline.
Just like the show, but this was about dating. Okay, love it. All right, okay.
And so I put that ad in. Maybe a few months after my divorce, I sat in my living room and cried, looked at old pictures and poems and things, love songs we had written each other. So I cried, I'd say, for a couple months. When I was ready to date, I did one dopey ad. It was a free ad, too. It was free. And I got probably 100 responses, Sarina, from women all over California from my dopey ad. So I dated from that ad for years. Now, were the dates all good? No. Most of them were horrible. If you read my book, I have a chapter called Really Bad Dates. It's a whole section in my book. And it's women who on the phone, they'd say, oh, I'm a beautiful redhead. I'm sensuous. I'm sexy. I love romance. And then you meet them in person. They're 350 pounds. They eat the food on their plate, and then they eat the food on my plate.
Oh my gosh!
I've had bad dates that would be remarkable in a comedy movie. I mean, they'd be unbelievable in a comedy. No one would believe they were really happened. That's a whole chapter called Really Bad Dates.
Okay, so I guess times have changed a little bit, right? Like with the electronic version, because we want to do a whole thing on dating apps and filters, etc. But you experienced that, Dan, through the newspaper. You said, but you had to have some good dates.
When I became newly single in 1992, right? 1992, yeah, it was the newspaper. Over the years, just to summarize, I guess, for the 20 years, I had numerous girlfriends. Some I met through that ad. Most of the women I've enjoyed, Sarina, were from real life, from a party, from mutual friends, from an event I might be working on as a publicist. The women that I most connected with in my life, all of them I met organically.
So I was going to say that. So organic dating or meeting somebody. Okay, very interesting, because we've had, I've had a coach on the show. I've had several people talking about this very subject, but organic meeting has been the best for you.
Because when you meet someone in real life, now it could be a nightclub, it could be a dance, it could be a work thing, it could be in a supermarket. The women I've met in real life, there's an instant chemistry thing happening, instant. And, I felt it instantly. And the women that I dated, and I lived with a woman for a while, but we both felt it, instantly.
So Dan, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but we're already almost at the very end of the show. So I wanted to ask you, you talk about all of this in your book, correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My book is painfully honest. Painfully honest.
Painfully honest. Okay, so
I told my mother she is never to read the book while she's alive. I'm serious. I said you are not allowed to read my book. I told my mother. I'm serious.
So okay, again, we have to wrap up the show. Let me ask you one final question. Do you believe in true love? I guess it's twofold. Do you believe in true love, and do you see yourself married again?
I don't see myself getting remarried. I came close. I had some girlfriends that I was in love with after my divorce. One woman I was dating for a year. We were extremely close, and we were madly in love, but she did not get along with my son, and she did not want to be anyone's stepmother. So the fact that I had 2 children, that killed it. I said, sorry. I'm sorry I have children before I met you. Please forgive me. So there's no reason. I don't need more children. I'm 66. I don't need to be remarried. I don't see that.
Well,
true love. True love. I don't know that I've been that fortunate. I don't know. I really don't know. I think I missed the boat. The whole theme of carrots for me personally is hundreds and hundreds of women that have come and gone through my life. And I'm always chasing after them, not always getting them or not always connecting with them. So for me, and true love, for me personally, I don't think it exists.
Well, my wish for you, though, is that you do find true love. And in the meantime, I do want people to buy your book. So where can we buy your book?
Okay, well, by the time this airs, my book is going to be published in the middle of mid-September 2022, and it'll be on Amazon. It's called Carrots. And then the subheadline, which I really debated, Sarina, because it's kind of racy, but the subheadline of Carrots is True Confessions of a Hollywood Sex Addict. And it's the good times, the bad times, the troubled times, the happiness, the crying, the depression, my sex addiction. Nothing is spared. It's the most painfully honest thing I've ever read.
Well, I say honesty is the best way to go. So we really appreciate it. On the record, I like the subtitle. Dan Harary, that sounds like Ferrari. We wish you the best of luck, and we definitely would like one day to welcome you back on the show. Who knows? I know you said you're not coming to Florida anytime soon, but we'd love to have you in the studio. Thanks for joining us.
That's great. I really appreciate everything. You're wonderful. I really, I'll send you carrots when it comes out, okay?
I look forward to it. Thank you so much, Dan.
Thanks, Sarina. Thank you. Take care.
You too. And if you would like to be on the show, please send us an email. We would love to hear from you. You can send the email to production@redhousestreaming.com. You can also share our shows on multiple social media platforms. We're also on Roku with major announcements coming in the fall. As always, we so appreciate you watching. Until next week, stay safe.
September's birthstone is sapphire. They come in every color of the rainbow except red.
Pad Precious sapphires are extremely rare pink-orange stones, which make them more precious and valuable.
To learn more about colored gemstones, follow us on social media or come see us only at the Golden Diamond Source.